from Bali in the South Pacific. It's about a gecko with a problem. You know what the geckos are, those little lizards? Yeah, little lizards. They're kind of cute. They're actually, I did some research on geckos, and they're found, I think, on all continents, I believe, except Antarctica. Anyway, this is a gecko with a problem, and did you know that geckos make a clicking sound? Try that with me. Well, if you want, throughout the story, when I make that clicking sound, feel free to do that as well. The story, Gecko Cannot Sleep. One night at midnight, the chief was awakened by a noise right under his window. The chief got out of bed and looked out the window. There was Gecko. Gecko, what are you doing here? It's the middle of the night. Go home. Go to bed. But I can't sleep. The fireflies are flitting all about. They're blinking their lights on and off all night long. You've got to make them stop. You're the chief. Do something about it. I'll speak with the fireflies in the morning. Now go home and go to bed. So the gecko went home. The next day, the chief met with the fireflies. Fireflies? Is it true that you've been flashing your lights on and off all night long? Have you been keeping Gecko awake? Oh, yes, very true. You see, we have to flash our lights. Buffalo leaves manure all over the roads. Without our lights, people might step in the poop. I see. Very considerate of you. Keep on doing what you've been doing. You may go home now. And so the fireflies went home. Well, that night, at midnight, the chief was again awakened by a noise right under his window. Gecko, it's really late. But I still can't sleep. The fireflies are still blinking their lights. You said you'd make them stop. Gecko, the fireflies have to flash their lights. Buffalo leaves manure all over the roads. Without their lights, people might step in it. Well, then talk to Buffalo. You're the chief. Do something about it. The gecko was getting quite cranky by that point. Well, the next afternoon, the chief met with Buffalo. Buffalo, is it true that you've been dropping manure all over the roads? Oh, yes, very true. You see, rain washes holes in the roads every afternoon, so I fill them up with manure every day. If I didn't do that, people might stumble in the holes and get hurt. I see. Very thoughtful of you. Keep on doing what you've been doing. You may go home now. And the buffalo went home. Well, that night at midnight, the chief was again awakened by a noise right under his window. Gecko, it's after midnight. But I still can't sleep. The fireflies are still blinking their lights. You said you'd make them stop. Gecko, the fireflies have to flash their lights. Buffalo fills up holes that rain washes out. And the fireflies light the road so people don't step in the buffalo's manure. You just have to sleep with the fireflies. Well, then talk to rain. You're the chief. Do something about it. Well, the next day, the chief met with Rain. Rain, is it true that you've been washing holes in the roads every afternoon? Oh, yes, very true. We rain very hard every day to make puddles for the mosquitoes. If the puddles dried up, the mosquitoes would die. And if the mosquitoes died, Gecko would not have anything to eat. So, of course, we rain very hard every day. I see. You may go home now. And so the rain went home. Well, that night, at midnight, yes, the chief was awakened by a noise right out of his window. Gecko, it's really, really late. But I still can't sleep. The butterflies are still blinking their lights. You stack it, make them stop. Gecko, listen carefully. If rain doesn't wash holes in the roads every afternoon, there'll be no puddles. If there are no puddles, there'll be no mosquitoes. If there are no mosquitoes, you, Gecko, will not have anything to eat. Now, what do you think of that? So, the Gecko thought to himself, okay. So if Chief told rain to stop raining, good. Then the buffalo can stop filling up the holes, good. And the fireflies could stop flashing their lights, good. But I wouldn't have any mosquitoes to eat. Gecko, there are just some things you have to put up with. Now please go home and go to bed. So the Gecko went home. He closed the shutters. He closed his eyes, and soon he was fast asleep. And you know what? The fireflies still flashed their lights on and off all night long. They're just some things you have to put up with. The end.